Peace, you know what it is. It's your man SKYZOO SKYZOO, live out the borough, and you watching Just One Record. Just one, baby.
Just one record.
If I had to choose one record, it would be Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. If you know me, you know I'm a super jazz head. I listen to more jazz than hip hop, honestly. And Miles Davis is everything to me. You know, I could run off a laundry list of jazz musicians: Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Horace Silver, Wayne Shorter, Ahmad Jamal, Chick Corea. You know, it goes on and on. I have so many jazz records: Ron Carter, Herbie Hancock. It's insane. But out of all of the above, Miles Davis for me is it. So if it was one record, it would be Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. If you know the album, if you know the history, the story behind it, what it's about, what it means, the highs, the lows, and how it goes back to being high and it ends on a low note, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, for sure. Yeah, as far as the influence from Kind of Blue, it's clear as day to me. You know, with the music, the thing about jazz is, you know, if you're an MC and you can find inspiration in jazz, it says a ton about the jazz you're listening to, because jazz has no lyrics on it, there's no vocals on it for the most part. Once in a while you get jazz vocalists, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Lena Horne, etc., etc. But jazz for the most part has no vocals, no lyrics. So you're getting a story straight from musicianship, straight from the instrumentation alone. And if you as a writer and as an MC or whatever it may be can pull inspiration and pull from that, then it speaks tons, volumes about that. So for me, I'm able to draw inspiration from Miles Davis and from Kind of Blue all the time, because from the pocket, you know, the pocket that I'm in when I'm rhyming, to the way I pick my beats, the things I look for in beats, the way I approach them, the way I write to them, and the things I talk about in the moods. In the same way that jazz can put me in a certain mood or give me a certain feeling, I want to be able to convey that lyrically. So how do I take what I've gotten from this instrumentation and turn it into something lyrically that has nothing to do with it? How do I give that same feeling and emotion and that story and that inspiration and that drive? How do I bring it from there to here, you know? And absolutely, I listen to tons of jazz, man. More jazz than hip hop these days. But yeah, Kind of Blue, Miles Davis, 100%. The way I got into Kind of Blue was honestly from one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Mo Better Blues. So growing up, my pops was a big jazz head, still is, and I was the little kid. I always was into lyricism. I always was about the pen. I started rapping when I was 9. So even as a little kid, if you wasn't saying nothing, if you wasn't getting busy lyrically and wasn't witty and had lines, I wasn't a fan, even as a little kid. And you know, my pops would play jazz, and I hated it when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I hated it. I would say, man, turn that off. You know, I would turn the radio back to the hip hop station in New York and everything, and we would argue about the radio. And I would say, this is stupid. There's not even any lyrics in it. This is stupid, you know, being an ignorant little kid. And my father would say, one day you're going to love and appreciate this jazz, man. One day you're going to get it. You're going to love it, appreciate it. Fast forward a few years, you know, and I wound up watching Mo Better Blues in college, even though it had been out a long time. You know, I wound up watching the tape in college and fell in love with the movie and the jazz in it, you know, Kind of Blue, A Love Supreme. Those two records in particular, Porgy is in it. It's a lot of records in it, but those two records in particular, the Love Supreme, obviously, and then all the Kind of Blue stuff that was in it as well, Blue and Green and all that stuff. when I heard them, I went looking them up right away. I was like, what is that? And I had to go do the research. And this is before Shazam, this is before Google, but I had to go do the research and find them. And I fell in love, man. And I went from there, and it just was a domino effect. It was just bomb. And jazz just took over my life at that point. So it was Mo Better Blues for sure that really sealed the deal. I told the story about my pops because my pops kind of started it, but then the movie sealed the deal and picked up where all that left off at. So for sure.
Winning be the only thing they know you for. And then everything changes like you Okafor. And you playing your role and keeping hold of what they hold you on. Remind them what they know until they know you gone. Like do believe it, let your memory lock in. Like when locking the door, soon as top become the topic. And she take all that off, seeing how roomy to drop it.
Yeah, you know, The Easy Truth, it's a very special project to me. It's something that, you know, easily one of my favorite projects I've ever done. You know, just the way it came together, the stories I was able to tell on it, the production behind it. You know, every project sounds different because it's different producers, it's a different approach, a different mind frame sonically and lyrically. So with this one, with Apollo, everything he was able to do, from the records he chopped, the way he chopped them, you know, just the approach sonically was just so special. And certain records, I remember when he sent me a folder of beats, and the first beat I played, the first beat in the folder, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the first beat became one and the same. And when I heard it, I said, this is how the album's gonna start. When I pressed play on that first beat, and the drums came in, I said, that's how the album's gonna start. It felt like exactly what you needed to hear when you press track 1. When you press play for the first time, that needed to be the first thing you heard. So I knew, and once that was the first beat, I said, oh, this is gonna be nuts. This is gonna be an easy project to knock out. This is gonna be a ton of fun, and this is gonna really, really stand for something. Because I knew where he was going sonically, everything I was looking forward to, everything that made sense, and it just worked. And I'm glad I was able to do what I do on his production, and he was able to do what he does, you know, behind my lyrics. You know, we were able to dance in each other's worlds because we're from similar worlds. But you know, I always have a record that's hip-hop that works for the radio. You know, speakers on blast, luxury, popularity. I've always had records that could work on the radio or in a club, but they're still rooted in hip-hop. And I wanted to make sure I had one of those with this album, and we did that with the Vibes, you know. And that's a beat his fans may not ever think he makes, but when he made it and when it came out, the people went crazy, you know, from online comments to when we do the shows. People are going crazy when that drops. When that 808 hits, they just lose it. So I'm honored that I was able to do something different with him, and he was able to do something different with me, and it still made sense as far as being cut from the same cloth.
Giving a fuck, I thought Jordans in a gold chain was living it up, and still is, shit it still is, depending where you live in, and I'm still in the style, so do or die, still religion, and Louboutin imprints, where bitches know the difference, and diamonds are forever, so I'm still about a prison, the now and the later, like you're sitting in the prison, or prison, depending on if you pronounce different. Wait, it's a lot of lines, let me pull back the limits, I mean that's only half like my...
It's definitely different working with different producers as opposed to one. You know, when you work with one producer, it's you guys' album together. So all the decisions are 50-50. From the track list, the sequencing, the concepts, the beats that you choose, the approach, the hooks, the lyrics, everything is together. Even though I'm writing all the lyrics and he's making all the beats, we have to agree that these beats make sense. He has to like whatever I'm talking about and appreciate and respect whatever I'm talking about on the record. It's his beat. So if I'm talking about something that he doesn't believe in, then he could step in and say, well, I'm not comfortable with that, and vice versa. So, you know, it's a collaborative project, and it's 50-50. If I'm doing an album on my own with different producers, then I'm the only one calling the shots. You know, I'm saying, I want this beat from this guy, I want that beat from that guy, I want this beat from this one, and I'm making it make sense. So it's different, but to me, there's not one better than the other. It's just different types of food. Some days you want, you know, chicken, some days you want fish. You know, it's that type of thing. But as long as the music comes out right, as long as the meal is perfect, and that's all that matters.
In love with a mattress that was somewhat out of place. Where due to old habits it could double as a chase. Talking major key, let it cut you out of case. Or try and run the city till it run you out of state. Told us all of this is straight, and it's worth what you wait on. Staring at the exit like, yo, I ain't trying to stay long. Kitchen table decorator, sit your way to plate on. Jesus, heavy is the head the crown lay on. But all of this is straight, running out of state is
Apollo is big on not putting, you know, a standard photo shoot picture on the cover or names and text and things on the cover, and I appreciate that too. It's a little abstract, it's avant-garde, I like that. And when we were talking about the ideas for the cover, especially with one in the same sounds like a black and white picture. It sounds like kind of a gray day outside, you know, not really rainy or bad weather, but just gray. It sounds like a great day outside, and it's just serious, and it has an agenda. And being that that's the first record, we wanted the cover and what you look at when you press play for the first time to represent and reflect that. And we were talking about pictures and sending each other stuff from Google. And when he sent me some of the ideas he had of, you know, everyday working class things and things that represented urban culture and urban life, black and white pictures, I said, oh, I got the perfect person for this. I called up a friend of mine by the name of Valentine, who I've known for easily about 12, 13 years now. And he's a photographer. That picture is a building in Queens, and it's just a picture that he had. I said, bro, send me some pictures you've been taking lately, man, because I know your style. I'm looking for something that fits like this. And he sent me a folder of pictures, and that was the one. And the funny thing about it, on the line, you see the building and you see the telephone line, or the electric line rather, and you see two pairs of sneakers, and one pair is a pair of Jordans, and the other pair is more casual, low-key Adidas, kind of cool-out sneakers. And I think that ironically reflects us. You know, I'm from New York. I'm big into Jordans and basketball sneakers, and my music is that. And Apollo is from the Midwest, which is more runners and cool-out sneakers and relax and everything. So I think even that mistake, it was almost like a mistake that just worked out. You know, it was like, oh, these two pairs of sneakers are hanging on the line. Look what the type of sneakers they are. And it just worked out perfectly. So everything was supposed to happen the way it happened with the cover art.
Slow dough, never made it in my neighborhood. A $1.54, $1.50 any way we could. Nike Rocher into the payment for Megan Good. And pulling Mach 5s just the way we should. Way we should carry this agenda till the closet looking like if it was carried through agenda. And we married to December. Duffel bagging with a dealer to repeat it, and it lead to duffel bagging with a dealer for a key. And by the weekend, and the roof is in the trunk.
As far as what's up next for me, you know, Apollo and I are going to be touring this album some more. You know, it's a beautiful album that we're extremely proud of. We want to be able to serve it to the people as much as possible. So, you know, we'll be on tour hopefully all year. You know, we got a month in Europe and go back home and come back out and do some things. We're doing Australia, South Africa, some European festivals and things of that nature later on. And then after that, I'm going to start working on my next solo album called In Celebration of Us. And it's very early stages, you know. I'm just putting it together. You know, I haven't recorded anything. I'm just listening to beats. Apollo and I are talking, so he's gonna make some beats for it when he goes home. Ill Mind has been making some stuff for it. A lot of different people. Cardiac, Willie B from TDE, from Top Dog Camp. A lot of different people have already started sending me beats, taking care of me, and you know, I'm loving what I'm hearing. So getting excited about that. But for right now, my mind is still on the Easy Truth, 100%.
Walls and made it famous, rapping about neighbors and they Bobby Jaw. Same ones was telling me to run towards the bag and do it till you get your number hung up in the rafts. I did it thinking more like Eldridge Cleaver over Rhea, but knowing